tell you. I had a boy.
Oh, now you gonna preach to me, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna preach. And you gonna listen!
All right. Welcome to my first installment of 2026 of this boring broadcast. I guess you expected, to come into an intro with a whole lot of hip hop and all of that. Now, why would I do that? I'm setting the tone for the boring broadcast. So I don't want to do nothing to get you overly stimulated. I want you to relax and let the sound of my voice put you right to sleep, because that's how we do it around here in the boring sector. We don't raise our voice. We don't get loud. We don't go back and forth. We don't argue with people that are just cyber blips on the screen. We come here to keep the topics real, to keep it adult, and to, give you a chance to express yourself and talk about some of the things that you might not get to talk about in them sections of BlackTube where you come from. So, there are rules to the game as usual, wherever you go. So, over here on this channel and this my boring block, we don't drop names. Because we don't need to get personal. Why get personal? We can talk about the subject. We ain't got to talk about people. That's kind of, what the other folks is doing. So we not rocking out with that, talking about people, making it a personal beef because it ain't no need. And by the way, T.M.K, media is a solutions-based platform. So if we go and talk about somebody or make it personal, then I hope at the end of that discussion, we have something that we can send them home with, a nice parting gift of some wisdom, some insight, or some intellect, something that they can use in their own lives to make an improvement. And if not, maybe next time. Right. So that's where we at with that. So, like I said, over here, not saying we better than anybody else. We just like you, except, we just want a little safe space where we can kick our shoes off and put the recliner back, turn on the big screen, and just enjoy life a little bit without some of the nonsense that go on. Maybe we don't want to play with other people's kids today. We want to talk about some grown stuff. You know what I mean? Get into some of them things that put the kids to bed, let them have their little toys and things they got to do, and then we come over here and do what we got to do. I'm speaking to you live and direct from the Norman TLM 103. Didn't feel like setting up the other mic, so I'm using my voiceover mic today. How do I sound? How does my hair look, Mike? You look good, girl. How many of y'all Y fans? See, I'm a big Y fan. I had that in my life all the time. You know what I'm saying? So over here, it's not really a narrative. It's just, topics from time to time. It's not anything sector specific or any narrative that you may have heard before. Just topics, grown people getting it on. And I'm gonna tell you something, there ain't nothing wrong with actual adults wanting to adult while speaking on adult things, while getting their adult on. I want to welcome my Sunny Bunny, Miss My Opinion, Teresa. She came through. She is an avid supporter. She's right there front and center on most channels, supporting and putting her energy forth to give a little punch to your show. And she's always spreading good cheer and good tidings and positivity and flowers and giving everybody in the chat a puppy to take home, because that's the type of energy she puts out, So you got to stop and check her out sometime at her channel, My Opinion. And, she's very passionate about the things that she believes in, So just sit back and relax and let her take you on a little ride when you get over there. And she let you speak on your thing too and get your voice out. She's not selfish with things, and she don't always have to be right, because that sister is chill and she's doing the boring thing too. Now, by the way, y'all, let me clarify something. When we say boring sector, boring broadcast, that's pure sarcasm. All right. So it's not that we really boring. It's actually quite the opposite. We damn interesting when we do what we do. And it's what you want. We're giving you more of what you want. So you would want what we have to give. And we're going to keep on doing it till it's done. You know what I'm saying? You dig? So that's where we coming across from with this. So, and don't mean, we better than the next man or nothing like that. We just a little different from the next man. You know what I'm saying? We got the same old soup, just reheated. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just got a pair of blue Calvin Kleins. He got a pair of green Calvin Kleins on, but we both men. We just do it a little different how we do. He got the platforms, I got the wedge heels. You know what I mean? We getting it on. But anyway, check this out, man. I want to send out a message as we started off. I don't have no background music. Do I need background music? Not really. This is boring. So I don't want no distraction right now. But I will though. I will. Let me see. Maybe I will. I don't know. So anyway, on to it. Check this out. And I'm gonna drop the link at some point. I got to get that queued up. Y'all know I wasn't prepared. What's my style? I'm impromptu. I just be walking by the studio, poke my head in, and I turn on the mic, and then I just let it rip. I let it rip because I wanted to, do a lot of things with some current events and some news clips and all. I didn't have time for that. And I felt like, everybody else is putting in their broadcast doing their thing. Let me drop a quick one and put something down for the crew. I got to keep up my boring quota for the team. Anyway, I wanted to say, ain't nothing you ain't heard before. Matter of fact, a lot of things you hear from me might be repetitious, but I figured, well, if you're still coming back, you might not have figured it out yet. So I got to keep repeating it till it sinks in, maybe, or maybe it's something you haven't heard, or maybe I changed my idea from what I said last year. Maybe I'm putting a twist on it, but I'm going to say this to all of y'all, man. Check this out. It's nothing I haven't told you before. Do your content. Do your content. Do your content. Share your voices, ideas, fortunes, whatever, inklings, notions. Detach yourself from the good opinions of others, man, because you're gonna have that in your life. There gonna be some people that's gonna say, you know, man, why are you doing that, man? You're doing the boring thing. You capable of so much more. You could do so much more. You got talent. You got this. See, that's the thing, right? It's freedom of choice around here. We got our amendment rights. I could choose to do one thing one way or do something a different way. Now, we will get called boring. We will get called boring because not that we are boring. We'll get called boring because we ain't yelling and cussing and screaming, and we ain't spinning false narratives, lies, dragging people, doing the sound, pointing fingers, talking about who ain't got what and who got who and who's worse off than who or whatever. I mean, think about it though. If the world is full of that, do we need to add to it? Can't we just do something else as an alternative? That's all I'm saying. Right. So do your content. You know how it is. They're gonna come at you, criticizing you for what you do or say. You know what I'm saying? Ask yourself, like I said a few seconds ago, what's the alternative? Because they're gonna come at you sideways saying, oh, yeah, you used to see he up there, he trying to do better now. I remember when he used to sell drugs. I remember before he dropped out of school. I remember before, man, let me tell you something. Ask yourself this question when somebody come at you like that, trying to remind you of how negative you was or how you wasn't as good or in the worst place. It's funny how they can always remember that instead of celebrating where you are. Ask yourself a question. Why is this person telling me this? Why are they telling me about I used to steal the cars and I robbed the 7-Eleven and I sold the dope and I did all these things? Why do they want to tell me I can't be better or I think I'm better than somebody because I'm in the church now or I'm into my Islam or I got a better job or something like that? You gotta look at the person bringing it to you. Basically, the bottom line is they never celebrated you. They don't want you to do better. They don't want you to be any better because anybody, here's a question, I asked them a question. Ask them, so what is my alternative? Do I just go back into the street, be a thug, be a criminal? I'm not saying me per se, y'all, by the way. I'm just saying, for example, because you're going to get that. Now, see, usually what it is, they don't want you to leave their realm, Now, we could translate that into social media talk. Okay, BlackTube is a pretty big place. It's full of many things. You got the conscious people, you got the beef people, the church people, the Umar people, you got the trucking people, you got all kinds of stuff, on BlackTube, so why can't we come over here and get down with the get down, But the thing is, when you leave them places and you go somewhere else like here, or you might go into the cooking sector or somewhere else, the folks, they want you to stay down with them. They don't want you to elevate. They don't want you to come of age. They don't want you to do pretty much nothing but whatever you've been doing before or what they want you to do, right? So you got to decide in your own mind. Don't this sound rhetorical like, damn, you tell me something I don't know. Tell me something new. Like, yeah, but the thing is, well, I'm saying this because I see all the time, the minute somebody come and criticize you for your choice of career, your social media change, your change in content or whatever, you will get caught up in a back and forth with these individuals. So maybe I do need to say what it is I got to say on that. And that is ignore them, leave them where they stand. You know what I'm saying? It's not benefiting you going back and forth. It's not benefiting you. Basically, when I get you to go back and forth with me, I'm literally dragging you down back where you was. And then I'm going to point a finger at you and say, aha, I told you you wasn't ish. And I just proved it. So, I mean, do you. It's freedom. But over here, like I said, I'm personally proud of, creating a space where it's like a little bit relaxation and some adulthood going on. Now, let me tell you something. Just because you change your outlook or you decide to do different content of a serious nature does not mean that you can't laugh. You can't deal. Welcome, brother. Welcome, brother. Glad you could come through. It don't mean you can't laugh. You can't, get into some chuckles. You can't roast or, you can just kick back and do a little something, something. Nobody never said, because you're gonna get that, folks will tell you, you say, matter of fact, let me tell you something, let me give you some other advice. Share, welcome. Oh man, my homegirl here. I'm straight now from the Northeast Middle School. Me and Shay, we was 8th grade. Anyway, it's a long story. So, you gonna get told, what I'm saying? I lost my train of thought. Shay do that to me. So anyway, when you turn it on and you decide you want to tip back across the tracks to go over there and laugh in these other sections of Black Tube, and you want to go get in it and do your little roast, you're going to hear it. I thought you said you was this. I thought you said you was that. And the other thing, check this out. That's why we not putting no guidelines strict on it, saying what it is. And my answer to that is this. Yeah, I was serious yesterday, but today I don't want to be serious. Last year I produced a whole bunch of content in effect to do humorous roasts. I want to believe that, and I am proud of the fact that a lot of people did get where I was coming from, where I was making fun of my cyber friends, and they got it and they laughed along with me. And that was a good thing. I was trying to inspire that, more of that. But, that only go but so far. Now it's 2026. So it's time to clean up some of these old tracks, put out some real music or what have you, and, do your craft, put things out. Basically what I'm saying is be free, do what you want to do, because I know it's a lot of talent, online and on Black Tube. And I think that a lot of folks want to speak with their real voices, but they're afraid, they're afraid of being judged or what folks is going to say. Man, let me move this thing along. Since the brother came here, we're going to change the subject. Man, check this out. A lot of us here are 50 plus. And if you're 48, 47, you 50 plus too. You know what I'm saying? I want to ask a question to the people that might be catching this on the replay. Are you an elder at this point? I've asked this before. Are you an elder? What have you learned from your life experience? You've been half a century. What have you learned? Are you willing to share what you learned, with the young ones, or some of us older ones that maybe could benefit from your experience? But let me tell you something before you turn your mic on, because I know you want to get on, and people like to throw their age around. Age does not automatically equate to wisdom. I just want to say that, because you could just be an old dummy, an old fool. That's a better word for that. Welcome, Steph, and welcome, beautiful one. She's here. I thought I smelled warm cinnamon. Anyway, so, it don't mean, because people like to say that I'm X amount years old. Yeah, that don't mean nothing. It makes you look worse, if anything, if you're not living the life. I'm this, or I love this one. I have these materials. I have this money. I have these materials. See, when I hear that from somebody 50 plus, I don't get the impression that there's some wisdom working here, because anybody that's been around for half a century will tell you, if they haven't figured it out by now, that materials come and go. They're fleeting. They're nothing you can grasp onto. Most of the things will crumble, decay, break, become obsolete, out of style, and some more stuff. And that is not a symbol of a mark of success. I would say that from a wisdom standpoint, your ability to have material success, or I say resources, and your ability to channel those resources to benefit others, I would think would be more of a sign of a person that has graduated into a wisdom perspective. Anybody with any insight understands that when you see a multi-millionaire, that person understands that they have a duty of philanthropy. They understand that money and that amount of excess of money only generates more money, and that you have to let it flow, get to where it needs to be. But if you 50 something and you just one of them look at me ninjas, oh, look at me, look at me, look at me. What I see, I see a man that's empty. I see a man that's not wise. I see a man that's more concerned about the good opinions of others than he or she is happy with themselves. I don't mean to make that slanted towards just men. Not happy with themselves. They want to project and they want approval from the world. That's what I see when I see that. You know, if it's all about money and it's all about shiny objects, what are you going to do? How many shiny objects can you collect? How many trinkets can you own? You know, or what have you. I don't know. But that does not equate or equal to wisdom, you know. Being an elder doesn't mean you suddenly get still, you know, either, or rigid, or you walk around here with this you know, with this angelical halo about yourself, and you don't laugh at jokes no more. You know, you just become this stiff guru type of living up in the Himalayas with a turban on type person. You know, you still understand laugh. The difference is, you know when to turn it on, you know when to turn it off. You understand it's a time and place for everything. You know, you're not on the internet all day just how many people feelings can I hurt? How many people can I destroy verbally? Well, I guess that you would, but that's not really eldership. That's just a person that's still half a century hurt inside that gets off on destroying other people. You understand? So, I mean, for real. And I lead this section with a question. Let me see what brother said. I consider myself moving into the elder territory with more room to learn as well. Now, see, that right there was very profound. That brother, in my opinion, he's already there. You know, he's already in eldership. The fact that he displayed a quality of humility, you know, I consider, let me read that again. He said, I consider myself in the elder territory with more room to learn as well. See, his cup is not full, and he understands that. He understands he has not arrived, but he's definitely on the path. And I would say, in my opinion, that brother is there. He's there. And I'm going to say, check him in 20 years. He'll be a lot further along, and he'll have a lot more to give. You know what I'm saying? At this point, you know, you half a century, you probably got grandkids by now, you know, and things like that. And it's just, I don't know. You're more of an example for them, because a lot of us raise kids, well, some of us raise kids, and you may, unfortunately, between the ages of 20 and 40, what did you really know? You probably made a whole lot of mistakes with your own kids, but now you have the benefit of learning from the mistakes, and you have the benefit of with these beautiful grandkids, and being that elder, that example that they need. And also, you know, you can clown for them too, make them laugh or what have you. But I don't know. It's just some things on my mind. Yo, you know what? Segue. What happened to COVID? Is that still a thing? I know my main homie, Derek Williams, he, you know, he crashed 3 channels talking about the big C. Matter of fact, at one point, we couldn't even say that word on YouTube. But I'm just wondering, like, has anybody gotten it lately? Do you know anybody that's gotten it? Lately, have you had it or whatever? Did you have it? Maybe you didn't know you had it. What's the newest one out? I think I left off at Omega. That thing kept mutating. I don't know. And I was at the doctor a couple weeks ago. Doc was like, yo, you get your COVID vaccination? I meant to ask him a question before I left the office. The answer was no, but I wanted to ask him, because I know when it first came out, they kind of threw a vax together real quick. And a lot of people were saying, nah, you're going to grow an extra arm, or you're going to grow another head because you let them put that in you, it's poison, or what have you. So my only concern back then was, I was like, how is you making a vaccine? And we don't even have time. Like, the research, we don't have any research. You know, we haven't seen this thing for 5 years, 10 years. There are no clinical tests on populations to see what the long-term effects is, or what have you. Nowadays, what are we looking at, y'all? About 6 years in, 7, if you count 2019. So they should have a lot of data right now. I didn't get to, and I'm a science person. I'm about science and math. I'm not about no conspiracy theories and what you think. Keeper, welcome, Bopper. She came through. Welcome, Keep. It's cheaper to keep her. I'm not concerned with that. I'm all that conspiracy stuff, because then the problem that I hate about that is we had our goofy leaders in charge. First thing they want to yell out is it's a hoax. And then you look up 1 million people dead. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. If the person at the top is talking about it's a hoax and then talking about shine light up your ass and all this other craziness, spray some Lysol, drink Lysol, all this stupidity, you got to ask yourself a question. They wanted to silence the doctor. He's scared to speak because he worried about what they going to say. Meanwhile, some of us has got basic biology training, understands what a virus is and what it can do. And some of us had the fortune of going through it. Now, how did I get it? Well, my kids who didn't believe in it boarded home, you know what I mean? Or not even boarded home. They dropped it off, kept going. And to this day, they still be like, oh, nah, man, ain't nobody worried about that. They got their thoughts. But me, I don't play that. If you've been exposed, don't come through here. Cause I'm too old to be getting sick and having that stuff shut me down, like that. So I'm assuming it's a lot more research and a lot more things. Now, the sad part is because we live in a conspiracy society now. People are backing off of vaccines, altogether. Now you're seeing polio popping up, measles and ran rampant out of control down south. Like, how do we end up? And that's one of the bad toxic things about social media, because we kind of been dumbed down by this. We, instead of reading a book or doing actual research, we tend to run to the internet and see what's popular, not realizing that people can restrict and control the internet. Now, I don't know about y'all, but before Obama, I could have sworn when I typed in the search engine, I would get like 20 something, 30 pages of data. Nowadays, I type something, I might have to keep searching and changing keywords, trying to find information. So it's not a lot here. They put the brakes on a lot of things. So folks control it. Oh, that sounds like a conspiracy, bro. That sounds like, no, it's my experience. I can't access a lot of the information as easy, but I understand that pure research happens in the laboratory and it happens in the books and the papers written by the professionals of the industry. That's where it starts. I love when people say, I did my research. Typing in Google is not research. Stop saying that. Basically you look something up. I can respect that. Let me look it up. You know what I mean? And this isn't the best source for that. But I'm just wondering where we are with this thing now. I know it's still out there. I mean, how many times did it mutate? Where is it now? How do you make a vaccine for something that constantly changes? So when the man offered it, I was like, nah, I didn't even entertain it. Because again, I need to talk more about that. I need to hear from some professionals. I think the flu concerns me more than that, but I don't know. I'm still here. I do feel some after effects from it. And that's what I was telling my homeboy, Mr. Williams. I said, hey man, we always talk about the vaccine part of it. Can we talk about the long-term effects of just having it, period? Can we talk about that? Because we were all wanting to blame every death or every unexplained phenomenon on this actual vaccine and missing the whole point that there was a whole virus affecting most of the people on the planet at one point. So what's the long-term effects of that? We need to look into that. Man, speaking of things, yo, can I tell y'all something? I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite. I hate AI. But I love AI. Now let me tell you why, right? I I hate AI because I think that I'm on YouTube and I'm getting fooled. That's what I call it. I like using myself as an example. I hate AI because I'm running into content that's 100% AI. Now let me tell you something. I think AI is a great tool to use, like a calculator or a computer. Use the calculator to do some calculations. You're working on a problem, but I wouldn't want it to be where the calculator started doing all my thinking for me. I think AI is a great tool to enhance your ideas, i.e., using myself as an example. So I will compose a piece of music, I will perform a piece of music, record it, and all of that. Well, AI helps out because in the end, I can take the final product and create a video by creating some slides and then putting them, in order. And then I save myself 3 hours worth of productivity by using the AI to help with the graphics. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes I'll use AI to analyze the audio that I've done to give me a relative comparison, and then I'll do the mastering on my own. It for the AI never gets it right as far as mastering. It doesn't work. I have to still do it by hand, but I do appreciate how it starts. So I'm good. I say I love it on the flip side because it's a great tool to enhance. I say I hate it because now I think it's dumbing us down. It's making us lazy, right? I'm listening to a piece. It'll come on. First of all, I see the AI thumbnail. I'm not going to hate on that. You know, hey, welcome. Welcome. Yolanda's here. Okay. Okay. My homegirl stopped through. So Yolanda going to come help me out when I start drolling on and on with this topic. So I come on, I'm looking at something talking about, how black actors from the 40s. I'm like, yeah, it's the Nicholas brothers. I'm checking it out. I'm listening. Right away, I start listening to the thumbnail was AI, no problem. Graphics, no problem. I started listening to the dialogue. Now, I'm a voice actor, so I do hate all most of the AI voiceovers because one, they cannot capture the human nuance. And again, I'm not mad if you use a human voiceover, but this particular production, you could tell Chat GPT had wrote the script, another program had translated it, another program created the voiceover, another program created the graphics, another program. So literally whoever was fueling this thing had no human input at all. And that's when I say I hate AI, when it's 100% all AI. There's no human nuance. And let me tell you, when I turned the video off and threw my phone, man, they said they was talking about the late great Lena Horne, and the voice on the thing said, and Lena Horny. No, you did not disrespect the goddess, the Nubian queen, and call her Lena Horny. Man, I turned it right off. Bro, if you see, my thing is that's lazy. If you're gonna produce a documentary style video, do yourself a favor. Now, you can tell that the computer typed in, spelled her name, which is Lena space Horne, Lena Horne. But see, the computer, the voiceover algorithm doesn't know the difference. So it referred to her as Lena Horny. See, a smart person would have listened to that voiceover demo and would have went back and said, why don't I just drop the E off her name so that the voiceover algorithm will pronounce it as Horn? And when I hear those mispronunciations, I automatically know. Now, of course, being in the industry, I get offered jobs, voiceover jobs, where I'm gonna I'll give you the last one I saw was this. It said, this voiceover job pays $20,000. Now, of course, you see the big number, so you get excited. I started reading it. It said, you got to do 40 hours worth of recording. Still not a bad gig. I mean, for $20,000, how many of y'all make $20,000 a week for working, right? Nobody. So I said, kept reading. It said, they want you to do a voiceover model where you'll sit there and record whatever they tell you, scripts for like 8 hours in a day, and repeating yourself, saying everything they need you to say. And then they're going to use your voice to train a model to get it more human-like. It could be an educational thing. But this one did say AI, because sometimes you'll get, what do you call that, y'all? E-learning. You can get an e-learning model where that's a whole different thing. That's your real voice on the script. Matter of fact, even my training modules at work have gone from real human voices into AI. It's cheesy. My job don't really care, because as far as they're concerned, hey, look, you can hear the words good enough. So they're not going to pay you for a session. So I am biased because being in the voiceover world, I just can't stand that. It's like, and the thing is, they can never get all of our nuances. Like the voiceover cannot do a whole entire live the way that I'm doing it now. It's not going to use these inflections. It's not going to do the humor. It's not going to hiccup, yawn, breathe. They can get it close. Some folks believe like, oh, it'll get to a point where it'll never replace a human being. So when I see 100% of work being produced 100% all AI, it irks me because it doesn't have any soul. That's why, folks say they rant and rave a lot about AI music. And they're like, man, the AI music, it's the wave, it's this, it's that. And then some of these producers are running out here, jumping on the bandwagon with that. I refuse. I'm not going to do that, because if I'm going to have some music, I'm going to play a chord. That chord progression is because that was my feeling. That's my emotion. And the computer cannot interpret my emotion. Now, again, if you don't have a certain talent, then by all means, like I said, you can use the tool. It's nothing wrong with using a tool to enhance your creation. So if you're going to get the Chat GPT to write your script, man, how about you just take what it wrote, and remember how you used to cheat in school? Just rewrite it and put it in your own words. Take each line for line and say, I would have said that this way. I would have said that way, and just do it. Now, if you're going to keep that part of it, then you do the music or you do the graphics. Make sure whatever you produce has a part of you in it. Okay, Yolanda says, I think e-learning should be a mix of AI and human voice. Yeah, because I'm going to tell you something, man. When you're listening to a training and it's a human voice, a person talking to you from experience, it does hold more impact, which is why in team meetings, your manager is actually doing the presentation. He could have simply, or she could have simply just threw an AI bot up there and threw some graphics on the screen, let them walk you through it. And then sometimes they'll use the PowerPoint, and then sometimes they'll use a computer module to make the point. And that's okay. Understand it's a mix, it's a blend. Yeah, don't let it take your soul. It's already bad enough. A lot of music has become soulless, and we already see what they've done to the music that we had. Do we even have R&B anymore? Does anybody make love songs anymore? You remember that? Like your mom and dad and them, slow dancing. Do people slow dance anymore? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I listen to old stuff. I watch old shows. So I don't know. You know what I mean? But definitely, man, I'm all down for the technology, though. And I love it. I love the fact that I can take and create a graphic and I can tell the machine what I needed to do. And sometimes it gets it wrong. I put my little video together. All of a sudden, it's got me with an extra 40 pounds of weight and the wrong height, even though, I told baby girl, I'm like, look, tell it my height and tell it my real weight. But sometimes it comes out and it's not quite right, or you got an extra finger or something, or there's like this mutant with a hat on in the background, because it doesn't understand. You would think that AI could do something like the human hand, but it can't. And you would think like, wow, it can do eyes, but it can't do hands. Yeah, it can. It's limitations, So I don't know where this whole thing is going with artificial intelligence, but it does serve a purpose, man. I was making some medical appointments, and all y'all brothers, speaking of elders, it's time for the colonoscopies, and it's time for the prostate exams, and it's time for all them things you dread doing. Make sure you get that, and get it every 5 years if it has any type of signs at all. The 10-year thing, you don't want to wait that long. So, so I'm calling to make medical appointments because I switched insurance. I don't have my old expensive ass insurance where everything is internal and convenient. You can do it all in one screen, and all the doctors and the specialists are all right there. So I have to call around, and I'm sitting there wrestling with the telephony, AI voice, and she's talking to me. And I ain't gonna lie, it was pretty good though, because I was asking all kind of questions like, yo, you like broccoli? And the thing was just answering me. So it was a pretty good AI. And then I would just say, I want to talk to a representative. And then it would say, all right, let me get somebody for you, so I could bypass it. But that one was pretty advanced. But I think when it comes to medical and stuff, man, I just find it frustrating going through all the prompts and stuff. And we need to get somebody, give somebody that job that needed, you know what I mean? And then we're not going to talk about that, but then sometimes I push number 2 and I end up over in Bangladesh somewhere talking to somebody on the phone, reading out of a manual, repeating the same things over and over. Now I'm getting frustrated because they're not understanding me. Now I'm yelling, and then I got to say, let me talk to a supervisor. Or I'm going to tell y'all something. If you're dealing with Comcast cable or something like that, and you start going through, you over there in Bangladesh somewhere, hey, look, just say this. I want to disconnect my service. I guarantee you they'll have Jeff on the phone in like 10 seconds. They'll have Jeff talking to you, and he's out in Ohio. Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I understand you want to disconnect. Yeah, I want to see what we can do to retain your business here. So tell me, what's the problem? And then Jeff gonna hook you up, and you're gonna get a discount, and you're gonna get that senior thing. Y'all elders, you're gonna get that senior AARP, 10%, 15% off. And then you're going to be hunky-dory at the end of the day, So definitely. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. For those of you, some of you might want to go out here and do a channel. Same here, AI, especially just like the ones covering world news. See, I definitely need my my newscasters human. Because see, when I'm hearing about this war tragedy or some famine going on in some place, the human being on the camera, the tear rolling down the cheek, I'm feeling that. I like that in a newscaster, a human being that understands. We're going to welcome the boring father himself, DJ Drama. Everybody hates R and F and T. Yeah, he started it. He started it off, y'all. But a drama do other topic too, but we used to I used to call him the god Somnus, the god of sleep, the Greek god of sleep, and all of that, and everybody DJ Drama mean and all that. But see, it's something to say about the somber voice because it makes you focus on the message. Ain't no bells and whistles, ain't no loud music, ain't no, you just hearing the voice and you hearing the message. So that's where we at with it, and that's what we're doing. So you're going to catch some of us around here, in the you're going to catch a brother of a certain age. You're going to hear Mrs. Murph. You're going to hear in my opinion, you're going to hear Josephine, sometimes with these boring topics, maybe the Drama himself will turn the mic on and lead the sports world and bless us with some and put us straight to sleep at 7:00 in the evening, because we got our Geritol on. So I don't know, but he does jump on panels to assist and help put the audience to sleep. So he does his part, and that's okay. We don't need your committal to a time slot, even though I'm here tonight trying to do my time slot like I don't have nothing else better to do. It's always something to do round chair. We about to get some snow overnight, but I'm armed with a brand new snowblower, so I'm ready for that. Hit that trail out there, buzz all the sidewalks off, and then go head on to work. So anyway, for those of you that want to start a channel, let me tell you something. If you're trying to do the boring thing and you want to be in the boring broadcast system, let me tell you something. It ain't easy, because you got to have topics, you got to have ideas, you got to have the experience. And anybody will tell you talking to a microphone endlessly it's a task. It is a task in and of itself, because it's not as easy as it looks. Let me tell you something. Now, you could do the regular stuff and be fine. Like, you could just check this out. You come on, put on some hip hop songs, right? Throw a video on from somebody else. And next thing you know, you start talking about the word of the day and the drama and who talking about who, and who she said this and he said that. Then you bring all the people on the panel, let them go back and forth. Man, just add water. You got yourself a show. And you don't have to say a whole lot. You ain't got to participate. You can sit back and let the characters go at it. You know what I mean? And it's easy. It's easier to do. And they say, oh, the show was lit. He had a great show. Yeah, sometimes that can go on for about 5 or 6 years, though. You got to reel people in. And again, there's no shade on that. Those that want to engage can definitely engage in that style. There's some of us that choose to do certain things. Hey, Edward Robinson, you click the link. Hold on one second, man. Let me see here. I always get, oh, so this cool. So I can talk to you behind the scene. Oh, well, hold up. I don't be used to all these backgrounds and backdrops. And okay. Yo, I gotta figure out my banner situation. Oh, I think I can. Oh, there we go. We got a banner. Let's see what's happening. Okay, so That sounds like the beginning of a song I'm familiar with. So it would have been nice to hear from you, Edward G. Robinson, Will Robinson, or whatever. But hey, it's all gravy. Like I said, y'all, that link is there. Of course, I can keep talking. I can talk forever. Y'all know me. Anybody that's had the pleasure of exchanging with me in real life know that I can tie one on. Actually, tie one on means get drunk. So no, that's not that. I don't drink, so I don't smoke or none of that. And we ain't gonna talk about that. Some of y'all like to get your buzz on. Go ahead on, do your thing. That takes me back to this eldership too. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, look, you 50 plus, man. You can't tell me that body ain't breaking down in some way, shape, or form. Let me tell you something. Now, we always say do things in moderation. I'm going to tell you, wisdom ain't got nothing to do with moderation. It's called, like I said, I'm not that person. I never really drank like that. When I did, I never really did, Um, I don't smoke nothing. You know what I'm saying? I don't use nothing, right? But I noticed with me avoiding all of that, sometimes you thinking like, well, I don't drink. But then next thing you know, the doctor say, man, you got a fatty liver condition. You taking in too many carbs. You're not exercising enough. You're not. And I'm like, Doc, how am I going through this problem? Everybody else is drinking beer and wine every day of the damn week, but I got issues. But see, I'm gonna tell you something. Nah, the people that's drinking and getting their groove on, they gonna have problems too. It's just they either ain't talking about it or they ignoring it. I don't know, but it's no way. I mean, even just living regular life, if you out of balance, like I said, I might have more carbs than I have vegetables. You do that long enough, you gonna end up where your blood sugar gonna be all over the place. Nowadays, my joint's starting to go back to regular. They said, man, you getting close to the borderline. So I had to start, cutting back on carbs, trying to do more. Like I seen one of my brothers, I ain't gonna call him out on here. He said he was trying to do better with diet, and he took a picture of a plate. And on that plate, lo and behold, you got mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, and you got potato salad, then you got greens, and then you had the meat over here. And I would say, like the dietitian told me, she said, see how divide your plate into four parts. You got 50%, then 25 and 25. She said, take that 50% of carbs, put the greens there, and then put the carbs at 25% and put the meat at 25%, the protein. So when I saw that plate and I see people take plates, and that's stuck in my head. So every time I see somebody take a picture of a plate of food, I'll be sitting there going, why is the carbs at 45%? The carbs should be at 20%. And if y'all know, like I know, when you're getting older, your metabolism is slowing down. So all the stuff that we doing out here, turning up or whatever, and I'm not preaching to you, by all means, man, enjoy yourself, do what you gotta do. But I'm just saying, like, I started looking at me. I was sitting there saying, that whole I was on that. I don't drink, I don't smoke. Like I'm better than. Then all of a sudden, I start having some issues. I'm like, my kidney doing what? There's a high level of where and the who and these names I couldn't pronounce. So guess what? Start drinking that water. Try to do 64 ounces a day. I try to exercise at least 30 minutes a day. It's strength training 3 times a week, cardio the other days, which is what I should be doing right now. But I had to come make my boring quota. So I still got time. I can still get on the treadmill, eat. Well, it's too late to eat now. It's after 7. But I can get on the treadmill, do a little something. That way the doctor happy about things. I went to got a new doctor, new insurance. So this man want to send me for a battery of tests. Got me running all over the world, with all these exams. But guess what? It's important to know. I need to know the state of things. I need to know where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, So I'm going to continue on doing this because I want to be healthy and I want to be here. So, you got a choice. You control what go in your mouth and down your throat. You know what I mean? So ain't nobody got you at gunpoint making you do nothing. And like I said, that's when that wisdom comes in again. Trust me, the minute I pick up something I know ain't healthy or ain't good, that voice in my head is loud. It's like, yo, that ain't good. I'll be like, all right, I tell you what, I'm going to do an extra 20. I'm going to eat this pecan twirl, but I'm going to do an extra 20 minutes on the treadmill. And I started saying, damn, is it worth it? You burning off the carbs, but then you also getting a jolt to your pancreas. Like, nah, well, maybe not. Doc said, all right, I tell you what, he said, man, if you're gonna eat that little tiny dessert, he said, do it right after you finish eating. Do it at the same, like right after. That way, it's not just pure carbs in your system, and you took in some fats and other things and proteins that'll help break things down, and then go ahead and walk it off, get your walk on. So again, that goes back to that being in balance. You know what I'm saying? I didn't eat a 6-pack of pecan twirls. I ate one. You know what I'm saying? And then you get your little treat on whatever and go ahead on balance that out. Doing what the crowd do, every time I go over to family house, everybody trying to shove a drink in my hand. Come on, yo, man. I'm saying, yo, it's one time. Man, come on, yo, peer pressure played out in the 80s, man. You can't make me do nothing I don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? So nah, it ain't happening. I'm like, yo, I just take this shit around the side of the house, just pour it right in the grass. Like, man, you wasted your stuff, man, handing me a cup, and they keep insisting. My question is, what do you want me to get out of this? You want me to slur? You want me to be drunk? And I watch them start getting drunk, and they start turning all up, getting loud, somebody getting salted, somebody feelings get hurt, somebody might even get slapped, things can happen. So now we're gonna avoid all of that, So I'm gonna do my thing. But then again, I'm not saying nobody else can't do nothing. Definitely, man. Feel good. Do what you're gonna do. You know what you're doing. You definitely, the last thing you need on this earth is for me to come on here and tell you what to eat, what to drink, and how to act. All I know is this. If you into science like me, you know what's up, right? So if I take something, a tobacco leaf, and I burn it, right? And I put my face over, put a towel over, and I inhale that, I'm sucking in some CO1. My body ain't a big fan of CO1. It expels CO2. So I'm just saying, do your thing. Moderation. Okay, moderate. You can moderate your ass right to a grave, but it is. And then some people say on the flip side, the graveyard is full of health nuts. So I'm gonna enjoy it. Or life's too short, life's a bee, then you die, and all this. Let me tell you something. All them cliches and bumper stickers where you setting up in a nursing home and you can't control your bladder, I want you to put a bumper sticker on the back of your wheelchair. Tell your ass, like, yeah, life's a bitch and then you die. Okay, all right. But see, here's the thing. I heard one fool tell me, and see, I was in the military, so military people ignorant as hell. Like one dude said, somebody said, yo, that's the smoking them cigarettes cut 5 years off your life or 10 years. He said, well, who gives a damn? It's the worst. It's the last 5 years anyway. It's the worst. So who cares? So, hey, guess what? I listen to that, I bust out laughing, just like I'm laughing now. That's why I don't lecture people. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, do your thing. I'm good with you smoking. Just don't ask me for no money to buy them high-ass cigarettes. Them things like $15 a pack, man, it's cheaper to smoke crack. You know what I mean? Don't bum nothing for me. Yo, you got loot. Yo, come on, man. You standing on this corner, ask me for a cigarette, yo. Smoking played out, bro. It's very few people still smoke, but no, I ain't got no damn loose cigarette. Or do I look like a bum to you? Like if I had some, I'd have a whole pack. You know what I mean? But anyway, that was funny, man. Everybody got their outlooks, their philosophy. Do what you want to do, feel good, elevate. But like I know, back on that elder talk again, man. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes the red wine, you get a little buzz, you feel a little good. But is it? Am I feeling good or am I cutting myself off? I say, damn, sometimes we on a long hike. I get off the hike, I feel this euphoria, exhilaration I can't explain, and I ain't had no chemical. I'm just saying there's other ways. A lot of us get them endorphins flowing through our bloodstream because we turn on the internet. Every time you pick the phone up, endorphins. You turn the internet on, endorphins. Every time somebody go live, you tap in, endorphins. Hey, I'm rolling with a strong 8, man. What's going on? I'm supposed to have my 11. I think I had 11 at one point. So we moving that right along. I dropped the link. Of course, the troll came through. How you gonna do me like that? Where my people's at? Anyway, definitely keep listening. You ain't got to come up. But check it out, right? Yo, is Black unity a thing anymore? Man, we talk a lot about, like, I heard people always say, Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street, and they had the Black Wall Street, and the people had their own hospitals, and they 2 bus companies, a library, had their own schools, and then the people, and they was jealous, and they blew it up, and they this and they that, and they came in, they took all the people land, pennies on the dollar. It's this guy, he's a podcaster, whoever he is. He got this AI series called Time, so he's like a young black man. He go back in time, and there's a white dude in it that I think he's white. He's like the time, he controls the time machine. He sent him back to Black Wall Street, and he said, I want you to make sure, what's his name, Willie so-and-so don't ever get on that elevator. And because he said in the story, he said that when they destroyed Black Wall Street, they bought the real estate for pennies on the dollar. And then what happened is, one of them people that did it, he became a real estate mogul, and he controls the permits for some of his scientific stuff that he does. He said, I don't ever want him to be rich. So he sent the brother back in time to make sure Black Wall Street stays up. I thought that was hilarious. One episode, he goes to Egypt, and then he goes, like, when Christopher Columbus come to the shores, and he say, I know he ain't up to no good because he got black on black Air Force on his feet. It's hilarious, though. I'm gonna put some links somewhere. But yo, check it out. We always talk about that Black Wall Street thing. You know what I always wondered? Like, okay, I know they came in, I know they blew. Why we ain't never have another Black Wall Street? Like, everything's, you had, okay, well, maybe in the 30s, the Depression, Black Wall Street was in the 20s, Rosewood, all these other towns got destroyed, Central Park. They took that. So the 30s was the Depression. The 40s was not Reconstruction. What do you call that? Come on, y'all. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the New Deal. Okay, the 50s, 60s was civil rights. So after civil rights, what's stopping the movement? Now, the government did produce a black town in North Carolina called Soul City. Of course, the government, you know how they is. They cut off the funding, and now it's like a prison they got there. So, in other words, I'm talking about something that black people built, not the government, because Nixon, got behind that. But we already know them folks ain't trying to have you had no damn black metropolis that y'all control. And you don't want nothing like that anyway with that much involvement. It's okay to have some government funding, because if you're paying taxes from a jurisdiction that you create, by all means, you should get some funding in return. So there's nothing wrong with that. But you don't want them funding the project, because it could go left at any minute. But like I said, there ain't no more Black Wall Streets. It seems like there was civil rights. A lot of us got successful. And then we moved on out into the suburbs, which, I mean, I kind of get it. It's like, you're in the hood, it's red line, ain't no good houses here. You want to have a better life for your family, so you move out. And then it's funny, because after we did that, people came in with gentrification, and all the major cities fixed it up and moved back in, because the power and the money is in the city. Come on, Furious Styles, Boys in the Hood. He wasn't lying. And Larry Fishburne ad-libbed a lot of that. He insisted that he go off script and put that in. He told John Singleton, otherwise I'm not doing it. So that man was dropping messages and jewels in that one, and it's definitely true. But I'm just trying to figure out, we got all the celebrities, we got all this juice, all this power, rappers running around here with private planes and a whole bunch of gold, but nobody talking about getting some land. There are some people, though. There's a group down in Georgia, they say these are safe spaces for black people, and they selling these plots of land, and I guess they got deals with builders. So, for $400-something thousand, you could be in on that. Now, the funny thing is, white folks already got them places. Oklahoma, Arkansas, they say safe space to preserve their culture, their identity. And guess what? I support that. So you support segregation? No, that's not segregation. That's separation. That's something done by choice. If I felt like my culture was being threatened, or my heritage, and this was something I wanted to preserve, why not get a group of us and we all move together somewhere where we can kind of live in peace in the way that we want? So this is America. You can do that. What rule says you got to be all blended in together? I mean, if you look around, neighborhoods are like that. You got your Chinatown, Korea towns, you got your Jewish towns, these sections of cities that already exist in that type of fashion. So it's nothing wrong with black, white, Asian, Native Americans, anybody that want to go do their own thing long as you're not bothering nobody else, long as some people say, well, if you're keeping people out, then it's hey man, look, you know what? You ain't got to be all up in the middle of everything. Well, you know what though? I ain't worried because I got my homegirl here, Miss Vestia Stephanie Collins, stop through. I hope that's her.
It is what it
Oh,
do.
it's her. Well, you know what it do. It does what it do, and it did what it did when it was done.
That's right.
And
You drew me out with that last statement. I know you probably knew you were going to draw me out with that last statement. You knew what you was doing. I understand.
I was
But
trying.
yeah, so listen. First of all, you can't leave me alone with them people. Second of all, the history of the South, as much as people who look like me like to say that it's, our history, our culture, we refer to things we should have never been doing, crimes against humanity, those are our culture, yada yada. Like, please, yeah, the history of the South is infused with Black people's contributions and everything that. As much as people who looked like me tried to make sure that didn't happen, it did anyway. So and there's places in the South, a lot of places in the South that are majority Black. So I don't think it's not a safe space or quote quote whatever that fucking means. A safe space for white people. So like I don't know what you mean. What do you mean by that? Like, how can it? Yeah, what are the Black people in the South going to do? Like, let's just say Arkansas and Oklahoma. What is Little Rock, Arkansas going to do if it's going to be a quote unquote white safe space? Like, pick up and move?
No, but it's funny you say that, and I'm glad you came up here because I always like the counterpoint because it helps me learn. But I did see where there were a few communities that were white and they just kind of moved to a certain area and they're like, we're
Right.
over here and we're building right here in this area and this is for us and heritage and culture. And I just said, wow, I can only but respect that because I feel like, well, I'm trying to imagine like, man, if I was a white person, wasn't this a movie? This was several movies. Watermelon Man with Godfrey Cambridge. This was it was a few movies based on that premise. But I'm like, if I was living in a certain area of America and I felt like, because the media will perpetrate this, they're coming for my guns, they're coming for my women, they want to take away my rights. Out of fear, I might feel compelled to take me and 2 or 3 or 4 or 5,000 of my other folk and just let's go over here, on the other side of this mountain and let's set up camp. I see why. And I have to say that I can only say because I understand why a person would do that. It's like, yeah, you've been constantly manipulated and told that you're dying out, that people are coming to take something from you, so you want to go over here. Now
And
for the
there
Black,
it is.
yeah,
There it is.
so
It's a lie. It's a lie. Exactly.
yep. But I
Yeah.
say because I understand. I'm like, the lie is playing on your fears, which is what the government does best. That's how they keep us distracted. But now things are so bad, it stinks so bad, they can't do anything to distract us any longer. And for any for any Black people, if you feel like, you know what, hey, how about instead of dealing with the police and the brutality, how about we just all create over here in our own police force in this small section? Let's go buy this town. It's for sale for 1.4 million and set up camp. Now it's not as easy as it sounds. You have to have an infrastructure. And Stephanie, I know you probably already steps ahead of me about why that isn't as easy. But go ahead, speak your speech though.
No, I think that's understandable. I think that would be understandable to want to get away from us. I think that's understandable. But, for us to want to create an all white space, it's based off some bullshit, And so, like, I don't know why, I don't think I don't respect that. Don't respect that. Don't respect, don't respect that.
Wow.
It deserves no respect whatsoever. I mean, that's just like, and plus we've been doing that, right? Like white flight is that essentially, right? Like, white flight all over the South, into the suburbs or what became the suburbs, right? Was based on that. It was like, you can't force us to do this. So we're, moving out past where, we are, where we would have, we're going to basically by default make it all white space so we don't have to integrate, right? And so like that happened. The town I'm from in Fort Smith, that happened when when because we they integrated late in Fort Smith, right? Because everybody thinks like it all of a sudden happened right after Brown versus Board, like everything became integrated overnight. But actually, it was a 20, 30-year process, and Fort Smith didn't really integrate. The high schools didn't integrate until 1967, I think. And so basically, right in the run up to that, people who could started moving out to the south side of the city, and it became like they grew the land space of the city by moving farther south and farther south. Which is funny because I mean it's sort of ironic, it's absurd, right? Because now that they were all in the south side, they made what? South Side High School, and then what they do? You can tell the rest. Like their mascot, their fight song, all that shit was all about the quote unquote heritage that they were trying to preserve. Um, and yeah, I mean it was just some bullshit. And so, they basically took their ball and went home. And in the process of doing that, I mean this is still a public school, right? So in the process of doing that, they basically threw the Monopoly game over like you do when you're mad at your brothers. You hit the table, the board goes flying and the game's over, right? And so, they basically made this process to where they were going to get favored in the budgets, right? And in Fort Smith Public Schools. And so they essentially robbed the high school that my dad went to. My dad went to Northside, which became like the majority black high school because the white people left. And so they basically made it to where they gamed the system to make it to where the resources were going to go to their high school. And that's how and it still is to like that to this day, although it's gotten better because, there was a lot of outrage about it. And like, of course they had to change the mascots. But what's funny about that, the mascot thing, they knew they were going to have to change that as early as 1983. They knew that was, they knew the death knell was rigged, right? But they didn't change it till like the late 2008, I think, 2009. And so it just shows you like the kind of like they dig in their heels. They're going to do everything they can to preserve some bullshit that we shouldn't even be trying to preserve. I mean, I've never seen people who lost a war so much like
Oh my
still
Lord.
glorify the fucking thing. It's crazy.
I was going to mention that. Because I would get into it. I have friends on the right and the left. And I always talk about my veteran buddies. And he said, I don't understand the big thing, the flag, this is my heritage. And I said, so you mean to tell me out of 500 years of American history, your heritage happened all between 1860 and 1865? Like that's your entire heritage?
Thank you. Yeah.
And I said, how does that even possible? I'm like, so your heritage are traitors, your heritage are insurrectionists,
And
dude.
losers.
I wouldn't even be proud of that. I said,
no.
And then I hit him with this. I said, well, damn, you know what's funny? I said, damn, it's like less than 2% of white folk own slaves, but yet somehow explain this to me. How did they convince all of you, the entire South, to go to war for this cause? I'll tell you, they told you they're coming to take your guns. They're coming to take this. They used fear tactics and they got you to jump into a dumbass war where you got slaughtered. Fighting some Northerners that had all the factories up north. What are you gonna fight with? Corn cobs? They had all the supplies. In fact, so my whole thing these days is talking to my veteran buddies who now they're completely muted because it's so bad they can't even use propaganda or whataboutism to explain any of these, especially this latest war crime. But I said, yo, they're still manipulating you. That the 1% is still using these same tactics from 400 years ago to get you to do everything. They got you fighting. If you were smart and you were poor white folk back then, you would have been trying to liberate the blacks. Hey, you know what? The hell with this. Why do we got the 1% owning all the land and we're just here hanging out,
Right.
So again, you want to, they will sell you the bill of goods like they're doing now, like the same 1%. And now it's funny because I was going to talk about that, how this 1% now you see they had an international, and I'm telling you something, I was shocked. because I thought it was one man and a few people in a little special country club. But now we find out it's an international child essay ring. And we see just how deep it goes in the heads of state, countries, elections. It is so nasty, corrupt, and evil that, yo, I just be saying, man, I must have woke up in an alternate reality. Like, I really believe I'm in I came from a different universe, and somebody just put me here just to wake me up or something. I don't know. But now we see. But yet, believe it or not, even with all the evidence, all the exposure, you still have people saying, following this individual and believing somehow he's their savior. I told my veteran friends straight to their face. I said, fellas, look, fellas, I was in the Army. We was all in the Army together. All that stuff about honor, serving, valor, bravery, all those things that I thought we shared in common, you don't. Because these people have shown that none of that means nothing. Come on, they called us losers. I don't like people that get kept. This man has disrespected veterans more than I've seen anybody on this planet. Okay, even the presidents that headed up large and long wars. So what is it that you believe? So I told them to their faces. I said, oh, I get it. You think that this man is going to return you to some sort of white seat of power over everybody else. So you just letting him do whatever he wants. Oh, okay. Because one of my buddies, I asked him straight up, I said, yo, what happened to all of those Pedialyte posts used to make about castration and burning them up and pouring acid on them? I don't see you posting that no more. What happened? Oh, because Orange Jesus is doing it. So now you don't want to go against him. I said, dude, you taught me something about you. All of this, come to Texas, come to my house, have a drink with me, cigars, let's drink some whiskey and go hunting. Dude, you full of it. You don't stand for anything. You think that this man, so basically you want it to be like in the world that this dream he's selling you, where if I'm in Texas, I walk down the street, I got to cross over, I got to look down, not look you in your eye. You want that type of fake ass supremacy. And by the way, when all of that was going on, you still was poor. You still was paying taxes. You was buying into the hype. Man, that's an illusion. And see, the thing is, like I said, I told him to his face, I said, bro, you notice something? Out of all of these groups, Nation of Islam, KKK, Aryans, skinheads, all of these different groups, extremist groups that exist, I said, why did they utterly destroy the Black Panthers? Oh, answer. The Black Panthers weren't all about black people. They were about poor blacks, poor whites, poor Hispanics, poor Asians. When they did that, they were, oh man, we can't have that. So they had to go. You know what I'm saying? I say, brother, we pay the same taxes. I'm working at John Deere. You working at John Deere. Right. They profited $2 billion last year, but they raised our benefits package up 10%, didn't give us no raises. And then when we went on strike, they threatened us all because now they controlled, before they built this plant, they already told the union what they were going to accept. It's not supposed to be that way. The corporation isn't supposed to tell the union. The union is supposed to be here to represent us. But yet you're hating me because of some skin color or some other stupidity because you think I got a half a cookie more than what you got. I say, brothers, when y'all gonna wake up? Right. You know, and he's like, I hear you. So guess what I did? I realized there's no reason with them. So I just stopped talking to him. And I know all my veteran friends are on Facebook, like, why isn't he saying anything? Because there's nothing to talk about. You guys are clowns. Like you don't stand for nothing. And matter of fact, just yesterday, one of my friends from my platoon, he put on there about this war in Israel. And the other guy, one of my buddies from Kentucky, he's always joking the platoon about his grandfather burning black people. He was like, man, I'm just messing around. I said, yeah, don't get your head knocked off, though. But anyway, he said, well, people knew what they were signing up for when they went to war. People are going to die. They know that going in. And we sitting here saying, but the war is illegal. Congress didn't approve it. Like, what? Right. Okay, they not supposed to be dead. He like missed the point. So I said, show me in the military contract where it says, you're signing up to die as a result of an illegal direct order. Like, it doesn't say that. Right. So I'm under the impression that if I'm going to fight somewhere, it's got to be sanctioned. Like, people thought about it. There was a think tank. These things went on. And when I get there, I'm in the safest conditions. Now this war done popped off. And then he hollering out because, like they said, I love him because he speaks his mind. I said, speaking your mind is not doesn't make you a professional of diplomacy. It doesn't make you intelligent. Speaking your mind. Hell, you got a guy drunk sitting at the bar stool. He's speaking his mind. But the
Right.
thing is, now these Iranians said, "Oh no, we don't want to talk." I'm like, what Eddie Murphy said in his first album, Eddie Murphy Comedian, when he said black people always talk to the movie screen. He said, "What you gonna do now? You drop your pistol when you bust through the window. So what you gonna do now?" They said, "Nah, we don't want to talk." Now
I do
what?
that too. That's why I was laughing because I do
Yeah.
that too, and
Why don't you
I
speak
don't go
your
to see the
mind?
movies. Yeah, I don't go see the movies because it just is. It becomes a problem with the people sitting around me because I want to yell at the movie screen and they don't like that. I don't know why they don't like that, but they don't like that.
Yeah. So tell him to speak his mind and see how far that gets you. I've never
Right.
seen we're total sheep, and I use the word we loosely because I've never seen such a group of people vote against their own self-interest and always hanging on a promise. Like, dude, you have politicians that outrightly refuse to answer questions. But if you go to court and try that. You go to, well, you're a lawyer. Go to court, and when they ask you questions, just keep start using whataboutisms and start getting loud and use curse words and have these pull out your little zinger notebook and clown the judge because of his hair and do all that and watch what happened to you. Your ass will be in contempt and your ass will be in a jail cell. That's exactly what will happen.
Mm,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's really bad, man. I ain't gonna lie. For the first time in my life, I actually have some serious concern, borderline fear, almost of like, yo, man, we're like a hair's breadth away from like a global catastrophe. That's how I feel,
Well,
But see, that's the funny thing, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let you go ahead.
no, go ahead.
When
Yeah,
I
respect.
saw this felon come back to put himself into power. And when it happened, right then and there, I said, yo, they did that on purpose. Like, because I said to myself, I said, damn, out of all the good white folk, you mean to tell me I can't find one with that's more qualified? I mean, come on, it's millions. But see, now that the covers is coming off, we see this whole SA ring and all of that. Now we know that there are people pulling these strings. Because I said the same thing from Kamala. I'm like, why did they keep Joe in so long? Why did they push Kamala up forward when I could think of 100 other Condoleezza Rice, Susan Rice. I could just all the women named Rice. I mean, there's so many, Michelle Obama. There's so many people. If we wanted a black woman, or let's look at the white women. There's a whole ton of them. I'm just so right then and there. I knew. I said they're putting somebody up they know that the America's not going to vote for, and this is all a play, and it's all. That sounds like conspiracy. No, I'm just saying if not, somebody explain it to me. How did this happen?
Right.
Explain it. So, but now we see because the minute he stepped his foot into power, he put every idiot in charge of every department he could find that he can control. And it's funny. So all of this is just for the cover up. And that's just my opinion on that. And I said, damn, they would go to that level of corruption to creating wars, dropping bombs, and doing anything to protect these people. And so why don't we have the list? Why don't we have the names? This is the greatest. This is probably the most, I would say, in the history of America, the largest corruption thing ever known to man, to me.
Hmm.
I can't think of
Interesting.
anything else that could be more corrupt and worse than this,
Yeah.
And you
I
were
have to
saying,
think about that. I have to think about that.
yeah, that's deep.
Yeah,
So
it is. Yeah, I mean, especially for America, because you could name, about 5, 6, for every president at least. But the way you're talking now, I mean, I agree with you, but I felt that way about George W. Bush.
yeah,
Because I didn't think it. Because I was an anti-war protester. My brother was over there, and I mean everything he did was so goofy, but also he was so arrogant. He was so sure of
mm-hmm,
himself, and now we just kind of regard him as like a grandpa, sort of like out to lunch, but he paints. And it's kind of cute, But he's an international war criminal, and yeah,
mm-hmm.
he and if you had asked me when I was 20 something years old when he was in office, I would have been I couldn't have told you it was going to get worse. So there's no
You
way. This is the worst of the worst.
you know what helped me with W is that W had some of the smartest, most intelligent people surrounding him. I slept a little okay at night because I knew he
Yeah.
had the Colin Powells and the Condoleezza Rices, and he had this top notch team of advisors. I was like, yep, he's an imbecile, but these people aren't.
But
He's not an imbecile to the point where he's like this new guy where he's like arrogant to the point where he'll just say f what you say, and I'm going to do this anyway. You know,
well, but the
although
problem
go ahead.
the problem with the administration and with W's administration was he had good people that knew what they were talking about, and then he also had people who were able to manipulate him with a bunch of information that they didn't even believe, right? That they,
Oh
like the
yeah,
Donald Rumsfeld, the Dick Cheney's, and they didn't even believe what they were telling him. All this
yeah.
parades and roses and stuff. Donald Rumsfeld knew that wasn't going to happen. Dick Cheney knew that wasn't going to happen, but they were able to sell it to him, so he didn't listen to Colin Powell. He didn't, and I don't remember kind of where Condoleezza Rice was all in that, on what her position was, but there was a real division in the White House about what was going to happen when we went into Iraq. And W
Hmm.
listened to the ones that were deliberately giving him bad information.
And so like Dick Cheney with Halliburton and the billions of
Mm,
dollars in contracts they would get manufacturing the war and also contracting after the fact. That's funny.
mm.
And
Yeah,
that's the scary thing. You have people on the planet, they already got $1 billion, but they want $1 trillion. And they don't
right,
care. So what if 30,000 people gotta go?
right.
So what?
Well, yeah, they think probably, well, the Lancet, the medical journal out of the UK, thinks that at least 1 million Iraqis died.
Yes.
Yeah. So, our soldiers, and of course, it didn't measure up to anything at that extent. But yeah, I mean, between all the violence, but also the just the destabilization of the economy, and the hunger, disease, that stuff. Yeah, it was far worse than anything that we believed, as a whole. Yeah, okay, I was kind of one of the instrumental. I don't want to say this just because it's just a fact. I was one of the instrumental people of the OU campus's anti-war network, and I remember talking to people and then saying like, "Well, just to be, we'd rather be safe than sorry. It's going to be okay. Like we could just go over there to Iraq and just get rid of Saddam Hussein, and it's just. I mean, do you just want to let him sit there? You just want to leave it the way it is? Yes, 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 I want to leave it the way it is. I absolutely do. I absolutely want to leave it the way it is. But they had sold the Americans, they had sold the American populace on this whole idea of like, one, it was going to be an easy, 6-week thing, right? Just like Desert Storm. We're going to be in and out. It's going to be easy. They're going to love it. They're not going to fight us. We're going to get rid of Saddam Hussein and let them figure the rest out, right? And then also, that we had been sold on this whole like, it's too we need to be safe more safe than sorry, and getting rid of him is it's far too dangerous to let him sit there than it is to get rid of him, which turned out to be a total miscalculation.
Yes. Oh,
Total
well,
miscalculation.
we have the money bunny on the panel.
Hey, honey buddy. I
Uh-oh.
can't hear anybody. Okay, I can hear you. Honey buddy.
She must not be connected.
I don't
And
think so.
this is StreamYard. I know with Evie Mukes that one will
Oh,
trip
okay.
up on
Hello.
the audio. There she go.
Hi. Hey, honey buddy.
Oh, hello, honey bunnies. How are you? And hello, my bunnies in the chat. Yeah, great conversation. I'm digging this boring shit. I mean, stuff. I'm sorry. I don't
Yeah.
know how you doing
No,
over
you
there.
you good. No, you good. You okay. You okay. Yep.
I want to be
Yep.
respectful. And
No, you fine.
those, well, my husband thinks so, darling. So those
We ain't gonna talk about Lamont. Go ahead.
um those were very, very kind words that you said earlier. So I also want to say thank you. It was
Oh,
lovely.
okay.
Thank you.
Oh well, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Like I said, you're keeping keeping this going. Like I say, a part of the network, and we good. The language can flow. We just don't do that.
Okay.
We don't. I just don't do any sectarian discussions or name dropping. With
Mm,
folks. You know what I mean? Because yeah, that I refuse to be the content. I
yeah.
can't do let the folks feed themselves. And that's another thing too. I was talking about what grinds my gears. I'm gonna say the last. I'm gonna stop complaining. Um, man, every when I was talking about the AI and how the creativity and how it's like everything on YouTube, every thumbnail is somebody's face in the corner with somebody else's playing their TikTok video. So everything now is like 100% reviews. And it's not
The
really reviews.
reactions.
They say reaction. I'm like, yo, you scrunching your forehead is not a reaction. They say, what do you think about this clip? That was the dude, this one dude, he go, what do you think about this clip? And then the girl goes, you know what? I don't know why these men out here. And then it goes on, and then he go, leave a comment in the comment section. And then he signs off. And I'm like, everything is reviews. So I'm trying to tell folks like, yo, put some of yourself in your content. Even if it's a
Hmm.
review, tell me what you think, and then say, what do you think? You know what I mean? At least give me your opinion on that. You should know because you got the opinion. So that's what I'm saying. Like everything, we getting lazy. It's just like, nah, I'm gonna take some other cool clip that everybody you probably already seen 100 times, and I'm gonna say I'm reacting to it, and I put it up. But I do enjoy the young people reacting to like 80s hip hop and 90s, 80s hip
Yeah.
hop. Oh, I love that.
Hmm.
They be like, oh my God,
Yeah. I
oh
like
my
those
God, I
reactions
never
though.
heard this. I love that. Those I do like those because they be geeking, they be jumping all around and yo.
Yeah,
So
it makes me
I
smile.
yeah, that's pretty cool. I love that because I say, man, because they always a lot of that music they think that it's some of it's original. I say, no, that's a sample of hip hop from a
Of a
sample from
sample.
James Brown. From yeah, so they be like, I thought that was Lil Yachty. I'm like, no, that was just
Nah.
that was Marvin Gaye originally,
Right.
So that's cool. I like that though. So again, I'm not like a
Yeah.
pure hater. Like I'm just like I just feel like if you're going to review, definitely break it down, give us opinion. Don't let the thing play for 20 minutes. Like yo, pause it, jump in. Plus, it keeps you out of the copyright thing. So you don't
Hmm.
have to.
That
Hold on. He
great.
says, keep us out. I know one content creator has over 1 million subs doing just that. Hey, that's cool. If you want to see scrunch my forehead, my forehead is unique or different, I guess. I mean, but
That's why I enjoy sharing so much because there's so many different things and it's something for any and everybody. Or if you don't want to hear this type of music, well, try this. I'm gonna play what I like, and if you vibing with me, honey, just be nosy and vibe. It's up to you.
yeah, no doubt. And again, everybody is entitled to their opinion because you're gonna get like friends. I said earlier, I said like speak your speech, do your content, because then
Hmm.
somebody's gonna say, well, you're saying this, it's judgmental. It's what man, okay, so according to your logic, I shouldn't have an opinion or be able to say anything about anybody at any time. But see,
But
I
it brings
keep
a
it
conversation.
exactly.
Exactly.
So if I say I want to see more involved with the review video, now of course somebody could hit me with the zinger and say, "Well, why don't you produce it?" Because you know why? I have my own thoughts and ideas. I don't need to review nothing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's why I don't do it. So now if I did it, I would do it to death, but I don't do that because I don't care about somebody else's idea. I'll put my own out. Now if
hmm.
it's a few of them have caught my attention, and I said it would be cool, but y'all know me. If I run, you know what? Literally, I could take three people's TikTok videos, those opinion pieces, and I could put them up, and I could probably form a 2-hour show just around those three videos, giving my commentary and breaking it down.
You
But
okay? Excuse me. You know the deal, don't you?
what's the
You
deal?
say it, I hear it. It's noted. So when will we be having this show, sir?
No, I'm saying the second part because you know me, you always jump in and I always have that. I always have a semicolon, and then it's the other independent clause. So,
Hmm.
so
Well, you
the
just
other
well, I'm gonna break that up so you understand what I was coming from. I told you you're in rotation now, so said I told you about the 360 deal on our pack. So I'm just
oh
letting you
yeah.
know I'll be expecting that it's noted. Okay,
Oh,
carry on,
cool,
please.
cool. So
They can YouTube
um,
upload it.
now the reason why you don't see me doing a lot of that is because sometimes those opinions be so far whopped out that I just be like, yo, they sound ridiculous. But I can understand why it has entertainment value. When I see a girl
Right.
talk, talk, when I see some woman that's, maybe she's a strong four on the Euro
Oh
scale,
wow.
and she's talking about the man got to pay all the bills and he got to do this and he got to do that. I need a $10,000 a week allowance, and I'll be like, man, I think she's trying to be ridiculous. So why would I review that? I know this woman ain't
No,
serious.
I think they be no, I think they be dead serious. They be dead serious. I'll be
Really?
cracking up.
Wow.
Yes, they be dead serious. They
Yeah,
expect this lady hung up on the dude because he wasn't gonna pay for her nails before
that's
the
crazy.
date. First
On that
date.
note,
Oh,
y'all,
see
I'm
that.
gonna bid adieu because the sun's going
Me
down.
too,
I gotta
honey. I
take care
just
of some stuff before it gets dark. But I love
okay,
y'all.
okay,
Oh,
love you
you in
too,
a
darling.
sundown? You in a
Bye. Thank
sundown
you.
town? she,
She
No,
is
not
Steph,
no,
sundown.
no, no.
Steph
I
in a,
gotta no. Don't even say that. That's how rumors get started. That's how rumors get started. I already
Steph is
fighting
a,
enough out
see, she
here.
over there messing with them black girls again. She got to cross across the sundown.
Love you,
All
Okay,
right,
now
darling.
love y'all. Bye.
all right.
Okay, honey. I'm gonna get down too, but go ahead before I get down.
Yeah, it's all good. No, I'm about to wrap up anyway, because
Okay.
I guess I'm fasting tonight because I done went past my dinner time. I should have
All
ate before
right.
I got
Well,
on. I wanted to come on and I ate a late lunch, so I'm good. I ate like at
hmm
4 o'clock, so I don't really need any more
yeah, we eat
calories.
late too,
So
dependably.
I ate the
Go ahead.
first part of it at lunch, and then I said, let me just save this because this is extra good. So I'm gonna wait. So I said, man, let me come on and do my little boring installment because I said, we got to keep this going. At least get 2 shows in a week. From the network, we could build the network, encourage others to come on, turn their mics on, and bore some other
Yes, we
folks out
can.
here. So we trying to
All
keep
it
it
takes
going.
is one. Go ahead.
And like
Yes,
I
all it
said.
takes is one.
Now there's some opposition, but you can't. The thing is, you can't pay attention to the opposition because, like I said on a previous broadcast, I said there's more of us that want this type of content than don't.
Yes,
Because we don't
I
want to be
agree.
on Groundhog's Day and stuck in a time loop with stuck on 20. We don't want to be stuck in 2021. We want to evolve. We want to move forward and whatever. And you're gonna have naysayers, and you're gonna have people that tell you I said all this earlier in the live, so y'all can just rewind it
Okay.
back. But well,
A brother said
we
he,
can't. Uh huh.
I'm sorry, honey. A brother said he's going late tonight.
Oh,
He
see,
might boss tonight.
yeah, no doubt. I'm gonna be right there in the audience.
Okay.
I'm gonna be right there, tuned in. For sure,
Mm-hmm.
because I like to hear that. I like to see him in the dark room and the subdued tones rocking us to sleep. So I'm gonna make sure. I might jump on and help rock y'all to sleep, because that's what we do. We put you to sleep with these boring topics.
I'm
We not
telling you,
yelling
it'd
and
be so
screaming.
boring.
We not
I'm
gonna
telling you.
I'm not gonna cuss out no women's or nothing like that. It ain't gonna happen, So we gonna talk about some grown people things, and it's not
Hey,
exciting
beautiful.
because the Jerry Springer stuff is cool. It has its place, but just not in this day and time. We trying to
Yeah.
do something different, a
Mm-mm.
little something different. We getting, and I keep emphasizing age, and I'm gonna keep pushing that. You getting older, it looks silly. I always tell people, man, hey, you want to really test the measure of your content. Like I said, what's the next holiday? 4th of July, when everybody at the cookout, y'all put it up on the big screen and show your peoples and see what they say. You ain't
See
gonna do that because you
who
don't. They see them acting a damn fool. They like, oh, that's you. Oh my, what's wrong with you?
exactly. And you know how we get down. You know how we get down. Hello, my love. You know how
Yeah,
we get down. So
yeah.
heck
So
yeah,
you,
got the what you call those sandals? Got the Hirachi sandals on. Got
uh
the linen
huh.
suits on.
Some of the stuff I say I wouldn't play. You know what I mean? I got songs, they be like, yo, for real. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff I wouldn't even put up. But it's not the majority of what I do. That's the thing. So I choose to do more of this. Matter of fact, I've been boring for years, but matter of fact, I used to get called boring all the time. Man, everybody listen, ain't nobody in the chat. Ain't nobody good. I roll. I got the Ocean 11. It's ain't nobody in the chat. That mean I'm doing it right. You know what I mean? With it was. I think the last time it was 25 people in here. I was talking about a court case that we ain't gonna mention. You know what I'm saying? And that was only
Mm-hmm.
because they was like, that I had an individual came through and people wanted to see the pain. You know what I mean? They wanted to see the pain, and we didn't do pain that day, and we ain't gonna do pain. You know,
Exactly. We
I
gonna do what
I
we do.
I had some people. I had folks like straight up lean on me because I wouldn't say guilty. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a sheep. I don't just jump on the bandwagon. I'm a constitutionalist. So I believe,
I'm here.
I believe my opinion. They say she was speeding down the street. I say no, she get her day in court. They said she
Hmm.
was doing 45 and a 25. I said, well, it looked like she was doing 35 to me. Well, you know what? We're gonna get in court. We're gonna see. Hey, what's happening, officer? Well, I got her on the radar. When was the last? Can I see the calibration record for your speed gun? Oh, I don't have that with me. Oh, well, we just need to throw out that evidence then now, don't we, sir? Okay, up, case dismissed. There we go. Innocent.
Just learn
Innocent. So
something.
like
That's all
day in
I'm saying.
court.
I just want
Day
to
in
learn
court.
something.
I need my day in court. Public
Well,
opinion don't
speaking of
mean
that,
nothing. Mm-hmm.
a brother said that he has to march into HR and he's throwing a tantrum, honey. What
Oh
for?
wow.
And he
What you
said
throwing
he
it?
is marching in. For what?
I don't know. He was talking to Heather and them at work and thought they was cool. They got kind of chummy. Then he said something and she said something. She wanted to drop the N
Oh,
bomb in the break room, and now he all offended. I told you, don't let them folk get too comfortable.
what?
No, I'm joking. That
Oh,
ain't really happening.
see, that's why I can't stand us. I can't stand us.
Beautiful said I might be the founder of the Boy Show. You know what, Beautiful? You might have heard me in the past talking about. I kept saying, man, I need a niche. I need a topic. I need something. And here it is. The homies around here done created the boring sector. And here it is. I was on it the whole time. I had already found my call, and I just didn't know. I was looking for something else. You know what I mean? You trying to catch a bus to
Absolutely.
Detroit, you already in Detroit. You know what you doing. You know, who knew? So now
I
we
guess,
here.
I guess, yeah, I be learning shit when I sleepwalk too, darling. So that's all that matters. As long as we're
Yeah.
aware of it now.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna
we not
go.
trying. All right, I'm gonna let you get on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause you worse than my sister. I be like I'm about to leave, and it be 30 minutes later.
Oh, you talking
I'm,
about the red
I'm
bone?
no, my baby
Oh,
sister, the one under
oh,
Redbone. Yeah,
oh,
she don't want to get her way. So you
oh,
reminded me of her. So I love you, honey. I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow.
no doubt. Well, you tell Taquan Denasia I said what's up.
I sure
Yeah,
will, dear. I sure will. And thank you for contributing to the board sector. You know I got you down. You need a few more, give a few more minutes, then I might get you down for a couple hours of PTO to
oh
welcome
yeah,
you to the
no
fold.
doubt. I'm gonna start doing my part around here, putting everybody to sleep. I thank you
Okay,
for
well,
coming. I
thank you.
really appreciate that. You know, I love my Sunny Bunny is on the panel. You know, helping out.
Oh, ditto, darling, ditto.
All
And I
right,
shall
now.
see you bunnies later on. And I love it. I adore it. Just
Oh yeah, likewise. And
all
you
right,
have
darling.
a
See you
good one.
later.
All right, all right, y'all. Oh, let me see. We've been here an hour and 37 minutes. Wow. Who knew when I said it's gonna be? You know, when I say it's a quick one, you know I'm lying, right? It ain't gonna be no quick one. All right, what'd he say? T.M.K, like my father-in-law, got a name for everyone. No, his sister really is named Taquan Denasia Dejanay Peterson. That's her real name, y'all. I put it out there. Nah. And you know, it's got like 4 A's in it, a couple of SH's in the I, and you know, 2 I's back to back. You don't know if the one I is silent, you know. So, yeah, man, we just doing the thing, man. You know, like I said, man, you ain't always gonna be popular, you know, folks. You ain't gonna be popular all the time. Sometimes you just gotta do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta just get on here and do it, you know. Or you can be like, you can do what everybody else is doing, you know, but it's been done to death. Man, and it ain't easy staying greasy when you're trying to come up with these ideas and concepts and topics and keep it rocking. I usually can go for about an hour, you know what I mean, before it starts getting redundant or I start running out of steam. But it's funny thing is it builds itself. I just think of a couple of bullet points. I go to put it down. And then next thing you know, it's off to the races, you know. But I want to thank everybody that came through, man. You know, and we had a decent little panel, you know, like I said, it was a quick build and we got on. Sometimes the topics ain't always for you. Sometimes you just want to be a spectator, and that's good. You know, you definitely should do that, you know, if it would compels you to do so. Did y'all like my boring intro with me? Now you probably heard when I did the box air on the G string and I did the classical into the jazz, but that was the whole I decided to I didn't want to waste the whole classical one, and I sound crazy, but I'd use that for the intro so you would know when you came in that you are prepared to be bored. And that's why I ended the intro with that saying, are you prepared to be bored? And the ladies yawning. So That's what's up with that. Well, I want to thank y'all for coming through and leave you with the words of peace and tranquility. Namaste.